Editing Crystal here, bringing you the intro, because my past self was a little bit too mumbly. Basically, we have another tag video, and it's not about writing, it's about books. So this is a tag brought to you by Danni from the channel Somberhoney. She tagged me in her video, and the original are going to be linked down below. Question 1, the oldest book you have ever owned. The oldest book I have ever owned is Goodnight Kiss by R.L. Stine. I've talked about it a few times on a couple different videos. I have had it since I was 6 years old, and I got it from a Scholastic book club where that publishing company brought a whole bunch of books to the local library, and we all got to buy them. It was awesome. Question 2, the first loved library book. And I remember I took Dracula out a couple of times, but I used the library to solely avoid people I went to high school with because people are loud and I need quiet. So occasionally I would just pick a book from the shelves, go sit in the library and read it, and then put it back. I never finished quite a lot of them, but I remember Dracula. Question 3. Book given to you. The Darren Shan series was given to me all at once, so I can't just say like the first one. My aunt gave it to me for Christmas in a little package with like all bundled together. It was super awesome for Christmas. Much to my family's chagrin, I tore the packaging open and read the unholy hell out of those books. Cirque du Freak was the series that really just took off with me behind it in my love of vampires and reading, to the point where one of the first stories I ever wrote was a vampires are real, this is a real story, except for I put myself in the story and I was a vampire. It was super cringe. I'm pretty sure it is in the dumpster or in a fertilized pile because that was so long ago. Moving on. A book recommended to you. One of the books that was recommended to me that is probably one of my favorite books of all time is The Witching Hour by Anne Rice. Another book I've talked about before. It was recommended to me by my husband since I'm a fan of Anne Rice and I love the Vampire Chronicles and Interview the Vampire. It's like, hey, she does witches too, so try this. And I did not get through the whole last year series, just The Witching Hour, but it is one of my favorite books of all time. Question 5, a buddy read text. I am stealing Danny's answer from this, and because it is my first ever buddy read, which is Aragon. I'ma be honest, I've never done a buddy read before. I've read books with friends, you know, you find a friend, they're reading a book, and you're like, hey, I'm reading that one too. Sometimes they're ahead of you, sometimes they're behind you, but I've never actually buddy read something. And let's be honest, I'm gonna showcase Aragon, especially because it is what brought the Chaos Queens together, thanks to Violet's Nostalgia Train book club. If you don't know about that, that is also linked below, because anytime I mention the Queens, I must have the Nostalgia Train book club information below as well. Books introduced to you in school. Goosebumps. The very first Goosebumps book I ever read, I think it was called like The Thing That Lives Under the Sink. It's with like the demon sponge or some such nonsense. I can't believe I still remember at least that. It was the first book I ever read. I think I just said that. And it was in a little plastic milk crate that my teacher brought to school so all of us could read during quiet time. I did not do the first quiet time reading very well. There was no books that struck my fancy because they were all boring books, at least to me. Because I was not like any other girls. I hate myself for that phase. But the next time she brought the case in, there was Goosebumps books in it, and I devoured them each and every time. I read the Choose Your Own Adventure books, which were weird. I think another Goosebumps book was the The Mask one. I don't remember the title offhand. Editing me is working overtime. I'm sorry. But yeah. Goosebumps. Goosebumps predates The Goodnight Kiss, technically. But yeah. Question 7. Genre fiction that inspires nostalgia. I can only really think of Harry Potter and Twilight for this answer. And I'm not 100% sure if I feel nostalgic about the books. I read the first 3 Harry Potter books. I never made it through Goblet of Fire. But I mean, I loved the movies and I loved the first 3 books. And I wished every day that I would get my Hogwarts letter, much like any other kids. But I don't know, like, thinking about them now, especially with a lot of stuff that's going on, I don't know if I feel nostalgic about reading. Like, I don't think reading gives me nostalgia. I don't know. I might have to try to nostalgia read them, but I don't actually have them anymore. There was Twilight, but Twilight and I also have a very sordid history. I'm not the biggest fan, and I feel like I kind of hate watch and hate read it, but that's mostly a history thing. And is hate really nostalgia? I don't know. We're gonna move on. Question 8. Literary work that inspires nostalgia. This is another question where it's like I'm not sure if I have a literary work offhand that inspires nostalgia. But I wrote down Kith and Kin in my notes for this one, but mostly because it's a comfy book. Like, I binged the hell out of that thing, and it helped me a lot with figuring out how to write sibling characters. Since I'm an only child, it's been really hard. So I've made notes. I was like, okay, this might be how siblings sound. I know Kith and Kin is a fantasy, and mine's like a contemporary fantasy, so it might not gel too much, but it is inspiring. I don't know if if it fits this answer, but that's my answer. So, question 9. Spiritual text that inspires nostalgia. Is this a spiritual text? No. But I'm picking Da Vinci Code and Angels and Demons for this answer. Let me explain. I was raised Christian-ish. Not a big, like, church-going family for the most part. But that was the majority of the family religion, as far as I know. And after I read those books, I started questioning things. I know, like, Dan Brown and, like, they are works of fiction, but there were moments where I'm like, I wonder how much truth there is to some of the stuff that's showing up in these books. So I found out there was a religion class in my high school. And one of the teacher that was running it was like, you get to make your own decisions on your religion. Even though, yeah, it's something you grew up with, you are your own person and can decide what your belief system is. So I took the class. I learned about a bunch of different religions, both mainstream and not so much. By the end of the class, I decided to walk a different path. I think my final presentation was on Wiccan and paganism, and I really just jived with the whole notion of Wicca. That's the TLDR, because the story itself is a hell of a lot more complicated. Question 10. Tag some readers. Yeah. I'm gonna tag some people. I tag you. Okay. Really. Anyone who wants to do this tag can feel free to do the tag. The questions are below. The original videos are below. I implore you. But I'm going to tag Katie from Katie Ann Writes. I'm going to tag Nikki from Agoulcreates. And I'm going to tag one of the newest members to our AuthorTube community, Bekah Wilson, from her channel of the same name. Links are going to be down below to those people's channels as well, so you can check them out. They are lovely, lovely people. With that being said, thank you so much for watching. I am streaming with the Chaos Queens on the 27th at 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, where we do some writing sprints, be a little chaotic. Occasionally we have a plan, but mostly really no. I'll be also streaming on this will be happening on my channel. Links are going to be down below for that and this as well, which is the Mass Effect stream, where I play all 3 Mass Effect games based on the decisions you guys have made on Instagram, which is the Renegade Heartbreaker playthrough, where I make myself super, super uncomfortable by picking all the worst options and being a total righteous dick. It's really fun. Watching me be uncomfortable, I think, is probably the best part of it. So if you like that, come check me out Mondays, 2 p.m. Eastern Standard Time as well. That's all that's going on right now. As far as that goes, there's going to be another video coming out next week. It is a Project Incarnate inspired video, and it is also a tag. I think I said that I was going to come out this week, but I noticed this was before it, because I have all of my video concepts in order and I'm not going to jump the line. So thank you, Danny, for tagging me in this. Thank you guys for watching. I love and appreciate every single one of you, and we will see you guys next time. Bye.